Hi, pleasant Saturday to each and every one of you. And thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity for this interview. Um, I am appreciative. I am Psalmist Cheetah. My name, Psalmist Cheetah Douglas-White. I live here in the UK.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started into this episode.
What do I do? I'm in education, a radio presenter, I'm an author, I'm a minister, I'm a voiceover coach. I do commercials and audio books and so forth. So I have a busy life, a busy schedule, and I'm a wife and a mother of 2 children here in the
That's
UK.
lovely. That's lovely. So you did say that you wear a couple of hats. Of course, this day and age, we all wear a lot of hats, particularly in the area of business, because things are changing so fast that you need to know how to juggle into so many of them, you know. Now, tell me, were you born in the UK or did you come to UK at a point?
I was born in Bermuda, an island off of the coast of North Carolina in America. It's not in the Caribbean, to Jamaican parents. So I had some early life stages in Bermuda, a little bit more life stage in Jamaica, and then I moved to the United States of America at the age of 18. I resided there until 2014. Then I migrated here to the UK.
All right, that's interesting. Wherever you are as an African diaspora, it is important for us, in fact, if it is possible for us to begin to touch it down, every country where we locate ourselves in the world is going to be very interesting for us. We love it. We love it.
Yeah.
It is our history. We need to be touchy bases all the time.
Yes.
From Jamaica to all the countries in North America, Canada,
Yes.
US, and the Caribbean. We need to be refreshing our mind all the time because we are
Very
all
true.
connected.
Mm.
All right, tell me a bit about your growing up in Bermuda. I'm interested in that story.
My dad was a painter, and so he had a job in Bermuda, and so it's 2 of us that was born in Bermuda whilst he worked. The early stages wasn't for very long. I moved from Bermuda when I was 6 years old, and then migrated back to Jamaica after the work was completed. And then I stayed in Jamaica for a few years, but more in the town area of Jamaica, so I didn't get much of the country life. My eldest sister did. My sister afterwards did, but I kind of missed out. So I'm still learning. As much as my parents are Jamaicans, I'm still learning with Auntie Donna. I learned the Jamaican slangs and so forth. And I always ask her questions when I go on the broadcast because I'm trying to learn myself. And then a lot of people say, but your parents are Jamaicans. And I said, yes, I know, but I kind of missed out because most of my life was in America. So, and I was one of those that was sent to family in America. And I had to kind of fend for myself. So I didn't really get the cultural substance as I should have. And therefore, yeah, I was just a little, what would you say? I think they would say hustler. I had to do what I had to do to make monies to get my life sustained while I was in America. And so because I didn't have that setting of a parents with me the whole time, it kind of leaned me into different directions that I could have avoided if I had that guidance whilst I was younger. So yeah, that's the whole bottle of me living in the United States. It was very tedious at times, and when you're in a country when you didn't have the right documentations, it made life a bit more difficult, and you had to like do little jobs here and there trying to make ends meet. So I didn't, even though I was sent to family at a young age, they weren't family that was really helpful. So because of that, I had to help myself. So because of that, it has built my character as an individual, as a strong individual. Know what I'm about, have to be focused, know what I need to do. And so I kept that focus throughout the whole of my life. And that's what helped to shape me now. So a lot of people would look back at it and say, well, I'm trying to blame somebody for the outcome of their life. But I do believe that regardless of how you were treated by people, you have to focus on you and not live in the past, because that's not helping you. You have to live a life that to just know that you need to be focused on you to get yourself to a certain pedestal in life, and that's what I did. So just a go-getter. I just get on with it. Yes, it happened. Yes, it wasn't nice, but I have to just move from there. I can't live in the past, because last time I checked, that never helped anybody to dwell on the past. You just have to propel to becoming better. And so here I am.
That is so good. That is so good. That is so good. All right, for the purpose of context, so at least people know where you are coming from, what do you want to touch in the past? We are always connected to it. Of course, we are going to focus on the future. That is very important for us. Most importantly, focus on the present. I
Yes.
remember one time I was talking, doing my presentation, because I had done a lot of presentation here in Italy. Of course, doing the research about the presence of Africans in northern Italy, where this podcast actually is coming from.
Right.
I've had to set at the point that maybe talking with some expert that in Africa, in the concept of the future sometimes is not very clear for us. But we know the past because that is where we are coming from. We know it. Because in Africa, okay, I'm generalizing, but in many part of African culture, uh, abstract is not something very popular for us.
Mm.
We want to see what we are talking about. So we are very visual in our representation in our languages. So that when you say history or the past, if you cannot have anything to attach it to or to link it to, it becomes very difficult for us to explain.
Yes.
Therefore, when you say maybe my community and the other community, if that is where it ends, it doesn't make much sense. But by the time you start talking of where my community met your community, this is what we did. Was there a war? There was a conflict. There
Yes.
was marriage. Then, because of the marriage, then we understand what has happened in the past now.
Yes.
So we always talk in context of what has happened. But in the future, nothing has happened yet. So even though
Precisely.
we might still plan for it, but we don't really know exactly what the future is.
Yeah.
So the present is very important for us, and the past also, because we have lived in the past. Our parents have lived there, our ancestors have lived there. So we have something to attach it to. So it becomes very important in that sense.
Yes.
So you have been in the United States, that is where you grew up. And so when you say it was tedious, do you want to give us a bit of a context? Of course, we're going to be focusing on the present and also
Yeah.
on what can be after that. Yes, share with us.
So you could just imagine your parents say, okay, you got to go to another country to live with family. And then you, as a young person, would be expecting family to be your guide. And so would have
So,
moved you over to somebody else to be responsible. Have you gotten that? It froze for a
yeah, yeah,
moment
it
there.
was frozen for some time. Yeah, yeah. If you want to restart a part there, please.
Yeah, so as I said, as a young person going to a new country, your parents would have said, okay, you're going to go to your aunt this or whomever it might be. And so you're expecting to be turned over or given over to family members who you would have thought would have been your guide through your youthful time. But when it turns in a way where that didn't happen, then you have to try to start now to focus, because that's what I had to do. What am I going to do here? What am I going to do here? So I did schooling on my own. I paid for schooling by myself. At that time, when I was doing schooling, I had to do something very quick. So I did a cosmetology course where I had a little booth rented in somebody's shop where I did nails and massage and hair and all of that stuff. So I was licensed through the states of New York, not because I kind of went a backdoor deal, because I had to do what I had to do. You know, I had to work little monies as a nanny, taking care of other people's children. Sometime I was a housekeeper. I had to do what I had to do to make those monies so I could go to school. So I sent myself to school. I had to do a cosmetology course. It was the quickest thing I could have thought of. I didn't have the time for the universities and all of that, because I had to make the money to pay the rent and to eat. And along the way of doing that, of course, I'm going to meet up people and have relationships. And because I'm trying to get help, then it didn't work out. And then you tried something else that didn't work out. And so I went through so much different stages trying to make a better life for myself. And so basically, even though I had family, it was like I was in America by myself. Yes, I had family, but I had no one who supplied me financially. Yes, when I just moved to my family's house or homes, I was there. I was able to stay there for a period of time. But after a while, all of that wears out, and you have to think, am I here just to be in a maid in someone's house, or am I here to better myself? And so I had to kind of make the decision to pick myself up and do what I had to do to make a better life of myself in the United States of America. The most tragic thing that happened, well, I could say it's a tragedy now, but it helped me to where I am now, that I met someone and we had the most beautiful wedding, and it was set in Jamaica from the United States, yeah, in 2000. And then after a year, the person said to me, well, I don't want to be married anymore. It's not you. Uh, it has nothing to do with you. You're a most beautiful lady. Anybody would want to be with this is somebody who I'm married to, is telling me all of this, you know, and it's not you. I don't want you to think it's you. And I thought, okay, what can I do with that? Somebody said, literally blatant, say, I don't want to be married to you anymore. It's not you. It's just me. I don't really want to be married anymore. I'm like, okay. So what I did was, I said, okay, I mean, what can I do? I mean, his family spoke to him. I said, listen, this is the most craziest thing I've ever heard. A friend spoke to him, just wasn't having it. So what I did was, okay, I'm not going to cry myself to oblivion, because that's never be. I'm like, I have to think, what am I going to do now? So what I did, I am a citizen of the British Empire. So I thought, right, anywhere in the British Empire, I could live and I could work and it won't be an issue. So what I did, which was, a lot of people said, but that was a bit brave or crazy. So what I did, I said, okay, fine. You're going to keep everything over here. I don't even want anything. I mean, a lot of people said, you didn't, I said, I didn't want anything. The only thing I left with, I packed my bags, book a ticket, and I had $1,000 US dollars. And so I packed my bag with $1,000 and I let him keep everything else. My car, everything. I didn't think about it. I just need to go somewhere to be focused and get on with life. I didn't want to go down the road where you come 2 minutes later and say, I'm sorry, and all of that stuff. I messed my life up for the next couple of years, because I thought this is a mental trauma that he might be going through. And I don't have that time to sit there and wait, because he was very, very firm in what he said. That was it. And so what am I going to do? So what I did, booked the ticket to the UK and packed my things with $1,000. And and then I came to the UK. When I came to the UK, I knew somebody who was here. And so this person said, right, you could stay here whilst here in the UK. But to cut a long story short, that person got deported to Jamaica. Uh, I land there in the summer, in June, and that person got deported in 3 months. So I was in the UK all by myself again. But that's no issue, because when I came here, I landed on a Sunday. And what I did, I walked into the main city center and went into hotels, because I had that experience also from the US. So I walked into the hotels and I said to this one particular guy, "Good morning." And I smiled, and I said, "Do you have a job here?" I said, "I just came to the UK. Do you have a job?" And the guy said to me with that beautiful smile, "We have a job for people like you. You have that nice presence." So I was working 3 days after landing here in the UK. So, from one extreme to another extreme. And so that's how I started in the UK. And then after being here, that was June, September, the person got deported. And by December, I met the person that I'm with now. That's from 2014. 3 months later at a wake, because in the hotels where I worked, there was a young lady that they used to pick on all the time. And I used to be like, the big sister and look out for her and things like that. So her grandfather passed. And so I was invited to the wake and the funeral. And it was at the wake where I met my husband, where somebody was coming through with a tray of soup and knocked me over, and I dropped in his brother's lap. And that's how I met my husband now that I'm with. So yeah, that's my story.
That is so beautiful. It's also touchy and it's incredible. That is beautiful. As you were just narrating the story, you see, when you started with the man that you got married to first, and then later threw you into the wind. You see, I was very happy that it was going to be a happy end, but it didn't turn out to be. Well, sorry. That is how life is sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't know what is actually the extent of the experiences we are having until we can look at it at the certain point that we have come out of the tunnel. Then we can look back and now we can understand it. I think that is what life essentially is.
Yes.
Because
It's a
if
story.
you anyway, but that's something I really find very interesting there, no? That you are really a warrior, you are a fighter, you are not afraid to face life.
Yes.
Because of course, a lot of people will stay there and be crying. Oh no, he left me alone. What am I going to do now? You are confused. You just remain there, and you are just mourning over the misfortune. Because really, it's a misfortune.
It is.
But if you take the step to go out of the to face it, because it's also like fear, no?
Mm,
And the fear is right in front of you. Until you face it, it's going to be on your face forever.
precisely.
But when you really face it, sometimes you see through it. Sometimes you can penetrate it. Sometimes you can just go across it and you are on the other end of it. At the other end of it is really where life is.
Yes. Yes. It's about the way you handle a situation. You see, I could have used this trauma in my life and just sit there and feel sorry for myself. And nothing is wrong if that's how you cope with it. We don't want to say that people should cope with, the misfortunes in the way of crying and so forth. Everybody's different. But I had to tell myself and teach myself, how do I get past this hurdle without making myself sick? Because I am very positive, and I don't think that it is the will, you know, for me to sit there and make myself sick. I'm gonna cry myself to oblivion, make myself sick to the point where I can't better myself to have myself in that situation. So yes, I could be depressed, and yes, I could have never moved from that point, but it is something that I had to teach myself, that I need to get myself up, brush myself off, and move forward. And how did I move forward? That was the best thing that downloaded to me that I could have done to move myself forward, because I could have still stayed because there were people who were willing for me to stay in their homes. So it's not like I would have been abandoned, but I wanted to do something better than just staying in someone else. So what am I going to do to make myself better? The quickest thing I could think, where could I work? Where could I go? Where could I go to work? The UK. Yeah, I'll do that. Because when I go there, it's not going to be any barriers with the paperwork or anything, because I was born British. I had a British passport from birth. And that was the quickest way I could have worked something out that was positive. And then because of that life experience, I am one of the most positive person, even when it looks as if it is falling down. A matter of fact, even when it's chaotic and it is falling down, I try to pick the positive pointers. Okay, it's falling down. However, and that's how I build myself up from the age of 17 until this point in my life. So, yes, we're going to have the misfortunes of life. Yes, things are going to happen. Like you said, it is a story. It's life. It does happen. Sometimes there's good, sometimes there's bad. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down. However, I choose to be on the up. I choose to be positive than to be negative. And that's something I had to teach myself. And I think everybody has the ability to do that. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. You just have to decide, make the decision within yourself. How am I going to do this? Okay, that's happened, but what can I learn from this, and how can I make it better? And because of this, I became a life coach where I speak into the life of people now and help them to be better individuals. And that's who I am now. I have people who speaks to me from all over the world, and people who are much older than me who calls me for advice, calls me for a word of wisdom because of my mindset. And I do believe that whomever you are, wherever you're from, whatever background you're from, that we are all have the potential to be better. And so that's what I do.
Anyway, I was going to really come to that because I know for you to have been able to, look, first of all, you pass through stress that some other person will pass through and they will remain there, but you approach it differently, you know. Like life usually happens to us, no?
Yes.
Life is not we don't sometimes plan what is going to happen to us.
Yeah.
That is beyond our control.
Yes.
But you know, it's like you are driving. We never want anything to happen, no, when you are driving, because you are inside your car, you are in control, you are in control of the brake, you are in control of the speed, you are in control of how you want to turn. That is what is under your control.
Yes.
But sometimes another person is also driving. You don't control what that is going to do.
Precisely.
You see? So that is what life is.
Yeah.
Sometimes we control, there are certain things that we control, but there are some other things we don't control. But when it does happen, that something happened, what do we do? And that we actually control, because that thing that we can control affects us at the end of the day. We don't control what is going to happen, but we control how we react to it.
Yes, the reaction of how you take it on board. And if you're talking about misfortunes, that has happened in my life. We could just talk about during the COVID, how I've lost 15 family members, one being my own sibling who resided in the United States of America. And I wasn't able to fly to his funeral due to COVID. And the wife cremated him. And so we will have no kind of a place to go and have some closure. So what did I do with that? I thought to myself, okay, how can I make this work? How can I make this work? How can I be positive about this? And wasn't able to go to my own brother's funeral. And his wife wasn't very forthcoming in helping us, like allowing us to be a part of the planning and things like that. So, you know, and we're talking about my brother, my blood brother. We're so close. We're a family who talks to each other. You might even see me tearing up while I'm talking to you because this is like real. So how do I deal with this? Okay, so I was tombing my tombing. I don't know what you call it in your country. What would you say when you go and you put a headstone on and you fix the graves of your family member? I don't know what you call it in your culture, but in the
Anyway,
Jamaican
we get
culture,
it. Yeah.
yeah. So My dad, I lost him in 1995. My mom, she passed when she was just 60 years old. My daughter was only 3 months old when we had to go to the Caribbean to bury her. And so it's like my brother now that I lost, like, okay, I'm gonna tool my family now. And I'm being real. So I'm gonna cry because I'm just that type of a person. So
It's okay. Go for it. Go for
so
it. It's
so I decided that now I'm going to fix the graves up and things like that. We're going to join both graves together. I want it to be the best grave in the cemetery. We're going to spend some money on it. We did it granite and all of this stuff, right? How can I help to have a closure with my brother, right? Let's make a plaque. Let's make a granite plaque and put his information on it and place it on moms and dads too. So that when we travel to the Caribbean, we can go and like, oh yeah, this is a place where we're going to remember our brother. We can go here and vent when we travel to the Caribbean. And that's how I dealt with that. You know what I mean? So for the rest of my siblings, they can go to the Caribbean now. And the ones that's already in the Caribbean can go and just go and visit mom's and dad's grave and see my brother's plaque there and said, yes, boy, Stephen died, and so forth. And so, yeah, that's just one way of me dealing with stuff. It's negative, it's harsh. You went through the hurdle. It's tough, and things just happen that was out of my control. I don't think the universe wants me to just be out of control, even though things in life becomes out of control that I couldn't handle. I don't think that I should sit here and feel bad about it to the point where I'm still negative, I'm bitter, I'm unforgiving, and all of this stuff that eats at you like a cancer. I don't want to be that individual. I want to be somebody of light. I want to be someone who walks in a room and the room brightens up because of my presence. I want to be somebody who somebody could speak to, confide in, don't have to worry about their business going elsewhere. I want to be that conduit of positive vibe. I want to have good synergy. And that's how I live my life.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for being who you are.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
You see, now I have a curiosity. Is it possible that what happens to us in life is part of what we can describe maybe as a core, as a mission that we are going to fulfill somehow? Because I believe that every human being that lives or living, let's call it an experience, that experience life, because life is something that we need to experience, also have a mission to contribute to the collective consciousness that we are all experiencing, that we all have a purpose of being here.
Yes.
And sometimes for us to be able to fulfill that purpose, say you want to talk to people about something, you also need to know what you are talking about. For this, somehow, maybe the universe have put certain situation for you to pass through. If you then pass through it, now you know what you are talking about. You can then talk to people about it so that it look like a school. You are in this world, you need to learn.
Yes.
And after you have learned, you are now mature, you can then talk to people. Can we look at our experience like that, what we go through in life? What is your take?
Yes, that's a life teacher. It is you if you go to school and you pick a career to study, and you, for example, you want to be a doctor, and you go to university and somebody's teaching you about all the ropes of becoming a doctor, but that person themselves don't know anything about the ropes of being a doctor themselves. So they're just going to teach you from a perspective of research. But when an individual knows what they're speaking about, like they have encountered what they're talking about, what they're teaching you, then you know that that person is not just coming from a sociology point of view, but they're coming holistically because they know what they're talking about. And like you said, I believe that life teaches us. It's just that sometimes we don't realize that it's teaching us because we're just looking and focusing on the hurt, and what we have encountered. But life teaches us, and that's why sometimes life beats into us in the way it does. It's like there's a story of Job. It's a man called Job, and that's labeled in the Holy Bible. And Job was so perfect. He had everything going for him until one day life got at him, and almost every single thing he had went. His kids died, the cattle was taken, and robbers came in and took everything he got. The only thing he had left was his wife, and the wife that was left, she was so negative at times. She just saw that life was beaten into her husband, and she said, "Man, why don't you just curse God and die?" You know what I mean? I said, "You silly woman," because he was so firm in what he believed to the point. And sometimes life does that with us. Sometimes the circle of people that we have surround us is not the best. And sometimes they'll tell you, like, "Man, if it was me, I would have done this. And if it were me, I would have done that." This is why it's important about the circle of people that you may have in your life. Are they positive? Are they edifying? Are they somebody who lifts you up? Are they people that try to keep you at a level? And that is something I myself have encountered, where you have people who try to keep you at a level because it's almost like you're trying to supersede them. And it's like, ooh, he or she is getting higher. Ooh, he or she is getting better. Some people try to lock you into this confinement, this box, try to keep you, suppress you, oppress you, just like our forefathers had to encounter this, our ancestors had to encounter this. They weren't suppressed because they weren't good people. They were suppressed because people were scared that what they have was going to become better than who they are. And so that's why our ancestors had to go through that trauma in their lives. Now, we could stay here and we could say, okay, we need to get reparations and all of this, and we could talk about it for the rest of our lives, and say this and that. But what are you going to do now to change? Why can't we be the resolution to the problem instead of trying to add more to the issue? We know that we've gone through tough times, but why are we going to stay here? What are we going to teach our children and children? What is the legacy we're going to leave behind? That we were just always negative? Or are we going to leave a legacy like, wow, mom and dad really and truly worked hard to get to this level? How are we going to top that? And I think that's what we ought to focus on as a people. How do we get from here? Are we going to stay here and die? Or are we just going to get up and brush ourselves off and move forward? And so that helps to shape me in who I am today. This is why I could talk to people who they would say is in high places. And, because of my life experience and how, life have beaten me into shape. I really think that life has really beaten me into shape, where it fixes my mindset to a different level, and that's my calling. We all have a calling. And we all have a purpose that's designed for each and every one of us. And sometimes we lost in not knowing what that purpose is. But after life have whooped me and shaped me, I know what my purpose and calling is. And my purpose and calling is to speak into other people's life, to show them that, listen, it doesn't matter how bad life is, you can be better. It doesn't matter what they did to you, you can overcome this. And that's what I do right now until today.
Thank you for that. That is powerful. I believe that those that are listening to us, they are getting the gist. It is very important. Of course, it's no wonder that you are a life coach. You see, the reason we really take the time to understand the individual behind what they do is that we essentially believe that storytelling is the most powerful instrument that we have.
I believe it.
Because any person that listens to your story now, you don't need to say to him or her anymore. They understand why you are the right person to talk to them. They understand that you have gone through the experience. It is better than just, hey, tell me what you do. No, who are you? That is where we usually start. Now, you see, when you were explaining just now, the thing that was actually running in my head is the picture of gold. Now, gold is nothing but dust, but you need to refine it so that they can have the value that they have.
Precisely.
Gold, diamond, all the precious naturals, even petroleum.
Yes.
If you take it from the raw state, it's almost useless because it's like every other dust. Until you refine it, you need to put the dust to heat, a very extreme heat. Then you
Yes.
beat out the shaft in it.
Yes.
Then it becomes beautiful. Then you can put it in your house. Everybody is looking at it. Wow, that is a beautiful ornament. The thing is like it's frozen for some time.
Yes.
Can you hear me? So all that process is what we need to go through in life too. If you don't go through that
Believe that.
process, you are crude. You are in your natural state. And in your natural state, you can neither serve yourself nor serve any other person. Because the resources,
Yes.
of course, they are in you. But until you develop them, they cannot help you and they cannot help other people too.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Now, because you are a life coach, I understand that you come across this thing a lot of time of people coming to you searching for meaning, trying to understand why they are here. Because until you know why you are here, all the thing, the baggage that you came to this world with, you will not develop them. Because why do you want to do that? You don't know why. So you're probably looking for some other person who you are going to be running after his or her buttocks and say, where are we going? Where are we going? The question is, where are you going yourself? What is your
Mhm.
direction?
Yes. I think everybody has a purpose, like I mentioned before. And you did the metaphor or the analogy of a diamond. I often like to speak of an olive because a olive, you look at it, it looks like nothing. But when you press that olive, when it goes under the pressure of the presses, that olive that looked like it had nothing to produce start to ooze oil. And I do believe that all of us have something locked up inside us. I think that we are pregnant with gifts and talents, and we just didn't realize it, and we tend to focus on the thing that's happening in our life. That, we all have desire, and we all shape in our mind what our life is going to look like and what we would want it to look like, and when things goes off course, because there are moments when things will go off course. You could be on a train and it could get derailed, heading for a direction or a destination, but it could get detoured and derailed. And life could sometimes do that to us. I believe that each and every one of us have something inside. I was talking to someone just the other day, and we were talking about there is a seed in everyone, a seed that's waiting, sitting dormant, ready to be germinated with positiveness, ready to be germinated with something coming forth. There is something lying dormant in the pit of our stomachs, each and every one of us. But like you said, if we don't know that we have a purpose and haven't found out what that purpose is, what is your gifts? What is your talents? Everybody has some creative flair in them. Whether you are a singer like myself, or a speaker like I do, or you're good at craft, you're good at things with your hand, you're good at cooking. Everybody has something inside of them that they can produce to help one another. And the thing as well, we are blessed with blessings, not just for ourselves, but we were given these gifts and talents so that we could help ourselves, yes, but also to extend it to others. And I believe that when we're tight-handed, and just like to keep the things to ourselves, whether it's knowledge or whatever it might be, and you just won't share it, then how can our world be better when we have that mindset? If we want a good world or a better world, or us to be more proactive in our world, we got to share what we know with each other. you know if somebody don't know how to do it and you do have the knowledge, I believe that we could extend that to that individual. Teach somebody how to become better. Not everybody is going to have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. But if you have that within yourself and you know that you could steer somebody in on a right path, I think that we should help one another. But we have somehow become selfish. We have somehow lost empathy, and we are not very much kind-hearted, and we tend not to be so caring if it's the person is not a part of our family and so forth. It's very difficult. Sometimes we don't extend that outside of us, but yeah, we want a good world and we want a better world, and we some of us, we know it all, but we won't share what we know. How can we make it
Unfortunately.
better?
Unfortunately. All right, now let's talk about the how. And the how is very important. Of course, that is where you come in with your coaching program. Now, I'm looking at the African diaspora community because that is where we're actually targeting with our message. It's our demography. It's the people that we. It's not that we don't care about other people, but we particularly care about our demography, our people. Um, Now, when you look at this demography of people, these people, the African diaspora community, maybe in the United Kingdom, for example, where you live, and this question of mission, of purpose, of why you should spend your life on something instead of just a number in the crowd, where do you think they should start from? What do you usually recommend that they should do so that they can find something that you will want to spend everything you have in this world on improving every day? Help me with that.
I think we have to start with ourselves. You know, all of us need to start with ourselves. You got to find one thing within yourself to work upon, because we all, none of us are perfect. We all have something hanging somewhere in some closet somewhere. And we have to be not be in denial to the truth. We just got to see what it is for what it is, accept what it is for what it is, and then start to deal with even one part, one area, and work on yourself. Because one thing I do realize that we have all been broken, bruised, battered, and torn. We can always focus on these, but we can find a place, one thing to work upon. Okay, maybe I didn't go about that the right way. Maybe if I did it this way, it would work. Sometimes you're talking about our brothers and sisters in Africa, they might have not have the resources that some of us may have. But what they do have, they have themselves. They might not have the resources to do certain things how we would do it, but they have themselves. They can work on themselves, learn how to love, learn how to help, learn how to be a community, which a lot of our brothers and sisters, they are actually into this sort of a thing in Africa, where communities knit together, join together, and try to help each other. So we got to just start with what we got. We might not have a lot. It might not be something. We might not have the resources to do it in the way we would want to do it. But we, we could be resourceful, which we are as a people. We are resourceful. The other day they were trying to cut a tin, open a tin of, I think it was beans, and it didn't have the flip top. But they didn't, the tin opener wasn't working, and they were going most crazy about opening this tin. And I said, okay, do you have a knife? It's like, yeah. And they look at me like, a knife? I'm like, yeah, give me a knife. He gave me a knife, and I opened the tin, and they was so blown away by me opening the tin, because they're just used to flipping the lid or using the tin opener. But when that malfunctioned, I had to be resourceful in my thinking, like, right, give me a knife. And I think that's how we ought to be, okay, that didn't go right, but what else can I pull to make it better? And so I think that's how we ought to be as a people. Start with ourselves. Start with one thing. It don't have to be a lot of things. Just focus on one thing and work on that area. And when you have maneuvered that, then you start on another section. And that's how we should, start with ourselves, basically. Start with ourselves.
That's beautiful. All right. In 2015, thereabout, I wrote a book that I titled "Amen the Stream Water." And now in this book, I'll try to look at identity, and also, of course, most of my work centered around identity because this is important for me. It's part of my research.
Yes.
Because I believe that I'm also finding out whom I am in a deeper sense of it, and it's not something that you do just in a flip of a day. No, it takes a lot of time.
Yes.
So the character of this story didn't know who he is very well. It's a story that's set in my village where I grew up. And of course, the book happened to have been accepted here at the University of Verona as part of the book that children need to read for school in 2016, 2017 section. So, which means, of course, I've presented it at the university and in different places. So, the story really goes like this, that because of what happens to this individual, who, of course, lost his father, lost his mother, the father was sent to exile, he was in the forest, he didn't meet anybody. By situation that happened to him too, he sort of lost everything, and then he goes into the forest now. He believed that this is the end of it. But that is actually where the story begins, because by him going into a forbidden forest, the evil forest I described in the book, he managed to find that his father was actually inside the evil forest. So what I'm trying to say in that book is that even though that was known, actually, it wasn't very clear to me, but it's just like a kind of an intuition. You have the story, you need to deliver it. At the end of the day, is that you are going to find your purpose.
Yeah.
You are going to do the work.
You
don't need to see everything, but you need to sort of trust your instinct somehow and just go for it. Now, another place where I sort of come close to the same feeling is another book that I wrote that I called Crisis of Identity.
Right.
Now, in this book, of course, I just told you, identity for me is very important, no? So I make a reference to Viktor L. Frankl, the famous writer, psychologist who wrote the book, A Man's Search for Meaning.
Yeah.
Now, when Viktor L. Frankl was in the concentration camp in Nazi Germany, of course, he didn't know that he was going to become who he became. But he has to pass through a situation. That situation was very precarious.
Yes.
Many people died. Of course, for many people that were living at the time in the concentration camp, you couldn't imagine that there was going to be an end to it.
Yes.
But he, even at the time, he was still writing.
Yes.
At the time. Because you are going to have to get yourself into something that you are doing every day. If they send you to the prison, be doing it in the prison.
Yes. Yeah.
If you are living in a glass house, the most beautiful house in the world, be doing that. Because if you are telling me that your mission is life is to do it when you are comfortable, then you are just lying to yourself.
Exactly.
You are going to do it when you are comfortable. Even when it is the hardest thing to do, you will still do it. That says that is actually your mission.
Precisely.
You are going to be searching for what is that thing that really make you shine.
Yes.
So what I'm going to hear is that when all these things happens to us in our search for our identity, how do we manage to develop our ability to keep refining our skill?
No matter what we do, we have to learn how to be true to ourselves. Like you said, we cannot try to be like somebody else, because somebody else is not you. That's not your story. You're not being true to yourself. You've got to focus on you. Sometimes things happen in life to knock you off course, to steal your joy, to kill you in some instances. And you just got to keep working on yourself. Self-love. Work on yourself. When you work on yourself, this is how we're going to channel into the world to become better, by working on ourselves. It's almost like you're saying that, okay, I'm a cleaner, but when you give you a house to clean, you can't clean nothing. You know what I mean? You said you're a cleaner. That's your description. I can clean, but say, okay, come to my house and clean my house, and you didn't clean anything. You know what I mean? But yet you're telling everybody that you're a cleaner. So we got to work on ourselves. Learn how to speak mantras over your life. You know, my mantras I take from the Bible most of the time. I will take a positive word from that book and I'll speak that into my life on a daily basis. You know, I am more than a conqueror. I can do all things. And you speak these positive things over yourself, building yourself so that when the challenges of life hit you, that you can use these tools. You're talking about tools. For me, is speaking mantras over myself, positive words over myself. Because not every day you feel positive, even though I am a positive person in the way I look at things. Some days you might wake up and not feel your best. However, I have to pick myself up, speak these positive words over myself, build myself up so that I'm able to help somebody to build themselves. And so, whatever your tools might be, some people might have a poem that they speak over themselves, some people might sing a song over themselves, some people might go to their elders for advice to build themselves. However, you can work on building yourself. That's what you need to take some time out as well for yourself. Because sometimes you could pour yourself out so much that you're all drained and just have no energy left because you're pouring all of yourself out, helping somebody, but not helping yourself. So we have to take it back by helping to build ourselves up. And we can't just do that once a year. That's something that we need to speak over our life, do to ourselves, you know, every chance we get. Don't work yourself into the ground. I always say that. My parents, they work. Every time I went home, they were working, they were working. But I could just count on my 5 fingers the amount of time they took some time out for themselves, you know? And I believe that when you go to the grave, you should go there all poured out and empty and not go in there being full with ideas and things that we could have done to be better. You know, I really think that, you know, we should leave a legacy, a stamp in the world. I believe that when somebody call our name, they'll be like, yes, yeah, he did that and she did that. And you might not have it on a global scope, but just within your area. Be effective in your area. You know, a lot of people sometimes people focus on being celebrities and all of that. You know, I never wanted to be a celebrity. I'm quite comfortable with being effective just within the area that I am, the place that I am placed to do what I do. I'm happy just with that circle. And I feel that when we're comfortable in our little circle, in our little world, then your gifts will make room for you. I believe that because I'm a living testimony that your gifts will make room for you. I don't need to go and take your stuff. Your stuff is your stuff. I'm happy that you're doing your stuff. I'll celebrate you in yours with doing whatever you're supposed to be doing. I'll celebrate you. You know, I'm happy every time one of my brothers or my sisters have made an accomplishment in whatever area it is. I'm so happy. I'm like, yes, you go. That's good. Yeah. You know,
No, I believe that jealousy is for people with little minds.
I believe that.
Because whether you are talking of in the business environment or except maybe you are looking at the game where it's only one person must win in the zero sum game, there is a lot for everybody. There is a lot for everybody. They say that when you go the extra mile, there is no competition there. It is only when you want to remain doing the same thing everybody is doing that you okay, they have taken everything.
Yes.
They cannot take everything.
No, they can't.
Because there is too much that there are so many things that you could do. You would never compete with another person if you are genuine. But if you
Yeah.
want to replicate Mr. Paul, Mr. A, then there is too much competition because Mr. A is already him. You are trying to be him, which means you are second. The other people like you, ignorant like you, also want to be like him, which means you are going to compete with people who want to become somebody.
Amen. I've always thought this is something I speak of all the time, that I never wanted to be like anybody else. I was one of them persons. When they were in school, they were wearing a certain type of shoes, and everybody wanted to have the same type of shoes. I wanted to wear something different.
Who said it? I think Enagia, the famous American speaker, motivational speaker, said, if everybody is going this direction
Yeah.
and you go the opposite direction, you will never be wrong in your life.
Yes, I agree. I mean, and sometimes I wonder, here in the UK, there was one time when everybody was buying these little dogs. And every time you went to drop the kids off at school, everybody's pulling these little dogs on a leash because one person got it, they got to have it. I'm like, I don't want no little dog. I don't want it. And then they were wearing Hug boots. Everybody wanted to wear Hug boots. I'm like, I don't want to wear Hug boots. Not my thing. So I just believe that you should just be you. Be you. Be authentically you. And, it taught me this, that over life, when people were hating and being jealous and give you a hard time, and I always thought, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Until one day I got a download like, girl, ain't nothing wrong with you. They're just upset. They're just upset that you're so positive. They're just so upset that they want to be you. That's why they give you such a hard time. I'm like, yes, I just got the divine revelation of. So now, if nobody's hating on me, I'm like, what's wrong? Anybody?
I love that. I so love that. All right, now let's talk about something. We have a series that we title Life and Legacy. In this series, we are looking at the different individuals in African society and the diaspora community, most particularly, who have influenced the society and our community, of course, who have made our story. The other day, we were talking about the life and legacy of Freddie Douglass. And of course, the guest was talking about that what actually made Freddie Douglass to get to where he got was his ability to speak. Then I was saying, wow, that is something beautiful. Now, that is the same thing that I'm seeing in you now, that your ability to speak is something very crucial. Of course, I know that you are in the radio. That is where I'm going. But how did you develop that? Because, like I said before, all of us have different ability. But until we develop it, it cannot help us, and it cannot help anyone. Help me understand it. How did you develop your ability to speak? How did you get to the radio?
Getting to the radio, oh my goodness. It's so funny because over COVID, I developed a WhatsApp interactive group. And so everybody was at home. And so I said, right, I just, felt within myself, in my spirit, that I needed to develop this WhatsApp group. But I didn't want it to be like any other WhatsApp group. I wanted it to be an interactive WhatsApp group. So during this period, I started to read Bible verses and over music, and I started to do prophetic poems where I just put the music on and I started to speak on the track, and it just ends when it ends. It was something mind blowing. People said, how did you come up with this? I'm like, I just felt to do it, and I just do it. I would just put a track on, start to sing, and the song sync with the track, that kind of stuff. And then I started to speak to people via the microphone. And every morning I would wake up and I would have some positive devotional at the top of it, some positive word to speak over somebody's life. And then everybody in the group would come and speak. And I gave everybody little sections of what to do throughout the day. I said, every day I want you to come and I want you to read this Bible verse. I want you to come on. I want you to pray. And that's how it started to develop. I started to do these voiceovers at home, and it worked like that to get my voice. But most intriguing is that when I went to the doctor's surgery, it's very funny. Whenever I went to my doctor would always just sit there whilst I'm talking and kept on nodding the head, and I'm like, but you're not hearing this. No, you keep talking. And the doctor said to me, have you ever thought of voiceovers? He said, "You just have one of those voices. Have you ever thought?" I'm like, "No, but okay, I'm gonna try something." And so I started to do it at home. And then now to get on the radio now, this one, nobody will really believe this one. I have never met the CDO of the radio personally. I have not personally met her. But my sister lost her phone in Jamaica. And I had just did a, what you call it, a Facebook account, because I was never social media, just maybe the last 2 years or so. Never was social media at all. I did everything I did, just not social media. But I was encouraged to develop this social media. So I opened this Facebook account during COVID, and my sister lost her phone. And then the person said to my sister, "Does your sister have a Facebook account?" And she said, "Yes." A matter of fact, she just opened one. The lady said, "Okay, I'm going to contact her through Facebook and let her know that you lost your phone. So when you call, don't have to worry." The same lady who contacted me somehow sent me a link for a radio station. And at that time it was Positive Radio. And I'm such a busy person. I normally would not sit there and listen to somebody's broadcast because I really don't have the time to do it. But somehow I was led to doing this. So I went on and I listened. And Auntie Donna was on the radio, CDO of the radio, and she was speaking. And every time she said something, I would drop something positive in the box. But it was a Bible scripture, just fine. If she was talking about you need to have stillness of mind, I find the scripture and I drop it in. And then everything she said, I drop a verse just to back up what she's saying. And I just did that out of the blue, not knowing what was happening in the elements, in the atmosphere, in the spiritual realm. And so I did it 3 times. And on the 3rd time, every time I tell somebody this, they said, "No, you're kidding me." The 3rd time I started to drop the verses and the positive mantras every time she speak to back up what she was saying. She said, "I must be obedient," she says. "I must be obedient to the Spirit of God." This is what she said over the broadcast. "Psalmist Cheetah, I don't know who you are, but I know you have a word in you to say to us today. I'm going to give you my WhatsApp number. I want you to call into the studio live to talk to us today." That, just like that. And I'm looking at her like, did she just say that I should call? Because I'm like totally blown away by all of this. And she said it like 3 times. I said, okay, she's for real. So I called the studio and I just spoke what was in my spirit, and I spoke, and, just thinking it's just a one-off thing, And I went on and I spoke, and people enjoyed and was so, blown away by what I was saying. And Auntie Donna got positive feedback and all of this. And then she called me the following week and said, "You have a slot on the radio. Come on at this time." It was a Tuesday night. I said, "Come on at this time or next week." And I'm like, okay. But I'm not realizing how big this thing was, because like I said, I'm new to all of this. I mean, going on social media and even talking to me is like, whoa, So I got a slot on the radio station just like that. And from that time till now, every Tuesday, I'm speaking on the radio that goes through many different radio dials in America, the African Diaspora, HOD, African Portal, all over the world. I speak on a Tuesday and people are literally, actually enjoying when I speak. It's just one of those things. It's just a supernatural thing. And that's how I got on the radio. I kid you not. And that's how everything that I've done afterwards just started to develop, from becoming a recording artist, because I'm a singer as well. I'm an author, and it all came through just linking with Auntie Donna on Positive Radio. And nobody believes it when I talk. And prior to that, I was in a church for 17 years. And I was very oppressed in this church. And one day I literally heard an audible voice saying, "You have outgrown the ungrown, elevation is coming." Literally. I heard it 3 times. And I said to the pastor in that church, I said, "Well, I heard this voice. I heard God say this, da 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 da." And he says that elevation is coming and he has something for me to do outside of the building. And I left. And in the space of 4 months, Auntie Donna, the radio station, the book, the recording artists, all of that stuff happened in the space of 4 months. And every time I tell somebody, they cannot believe it. So yeah, that's how I got on the radio. Serious. I'm not making it up. It's the truth.
That's powerful. All right, now, how do you feel about that? That people are waiting to hear your voice, listen to what you have to say. One thing that I think everybody should pay attention to is that at a certain space in time, you are the hero of the show. You need to own it. Because if you don't, nobody is going to call you and hey, come and take it.
Mm.
So now, how do you feel be on the radio? Now that your voice is the one that people are going to listen to, you need to tell them your 50 cent. Tell me about your feeling.
Well, to be quite honest, it could be somewhat intimidating at times. I'm in a position where now I have to, even if I wasn't carrying myself a certain way, now I have to carry myself a certain way because people are depending on me to speak something positive into their life. So on the radio station, we could be very open. There are times me and Auntie Donna are on there, we're crying together. There are other moments that we're laughing together, we're giving jokes, and another time I come with a positive word. And I have to keep myself at a level, even if I'm having a bad day, which sometimes we all do. I have to keep keep speaking to myself that, come on, you got people depending on you here. People are waiting to listen to you. Pick yourself up. Come on, girl. I speak to myself. Come on. You gotta. I have to literally coach myself every day and say, listen, you've got people on. And I'm thinking, oh God, they're all over the world. If I don't go on tonight, I'm going to be disappointing a whole bunch of people all over the world. And so that keeps me going to know that even though it's scary at times, and sometimes, like, oh my God, sometimes I'm pinching myself like, oh my God, you're on the radio. Like, you're on the radio. You're on the radio. Sometimes I'm in my private time and my moments in my bathroom, and I'm like, I can't believe it. You're on the radio. They were oppressing you for so many years. There were times when I was supposed to speak that they didn't want me to speak. There were times when I was supposed to do stuff. They stopped me. They did everything to sabotage me. And now I'm on the radio. Loads and loads of people, not just locally where I was having a problem, but now nationally and internationally. I'm like, oh my God. I have to just keep myself calm, speak over myself, knowing that people are depending on me and I hate to let people down. And because I hate to let people down, I'm so dedicated. I'm one of the person that if I say I'm going to do something with you, you can depend that I'm going to do it. I'm one of them because I just feel bad if I let you down. And so that's who I am. And that's what I do. I literally speak to myself and know that I can't do anything out of context now because now the whole world is watching me. Paparazzi.
That is responsibility. And it is not a small word. I think responsibility is broken into two: ability to respond.
Yes.
Now you have developed your ability to respond, and you are mature to do that, and you are doing that. And now there's another thing that I also take out from there, that you want to, you almost like compare to speak positive into people. But it is something very important about that.
Yes.
That when you are speaking positive, you cannot be speaking negative at the same time because the brain cannot concentrate on two things at the same time. It can only focus on one.
Yes.
Which means you are helping people, but you're also helping yourself.
Exactly.
Because you need to process the information that you need to communicate. That is why I usually advise people, don't speak negative things. Because for you to speak negative things, you first of all need to think negative things. One.
Yeah.
Secondly, after your brain have processed the negativity, you are going to live with it for some time before your brain can erase that from you.
I believe it.
Why do you need to suffer yourself that?
Mm,
Why don't just
mm.
speak positive?
That's what I do. And some people, they were like, "Oh man, are you gonna come and tell me about something positive now?" It don't matter what is, even if you're somewhere and people are just bickering about something, and I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I can't take this one more moment." And I'll say, "Okay, but this happened, but what are you going to do to make it better?" And people take a step back, like, "What? Yes, it happened, but what are you going to do to make it better? Why do you need to dwell on this negative aspect of it? Why not just try to pick something positive out of it?" And because of that, some people are like, "Oh, here she go with her positive self. Oh my God, you know." But I just believe that it's just a mindset that we should really um have. We should have a mindset that even when it's negative, try to look at the positive. What can I learn from this negative circumstance that's happening? What are the positive pointers I could pick up out of this and to make myself better? And one thing I believe that even with people being naysayers and talking ill about you, why are you going to lower your standard to people who are just negative? Why are you going to lower yourself? Like, that is why I don't even get to the point where I'm angry and talking stuff to people and get myself all worked up, sweating and my makeup is all running and all of that. Why am I gonna do that? I don't want to do that. I just feel like I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my energy. And I'm not saying that sometimes I don't get upset. I'll get upset. And I get upset and I'll tell you and I let it go. That's how I work. I'm not going to hold that inside of me because I really feel like it's a weight in me that I don't want to carry. I'm already carrying enough. Life within itself is heavy on us sometimes. Why am I going to carry your stuff as well and walk around and say that I'm not going to speak to you? When last did I speak to your mother? I haven't spoken to her for 20 years. What? I feel like that is just something I don't need to carry. So I'll get upset. And I'm not saying it works for everybody, but it works for me. I had to teach myself this. I'll get upset. I'll get annoyed. I'll get frustrated. I'll talk about it. And once I talk about it and release that out of me, that's me. I'm done. Bring it on. Something next. Because I don't have time to waste. And people tend to forget that we're on a time span. We don't have all the time to waste on some of the stuff that we waste our time on. And that's how I look at it. I'm not going to lower myself. If you want to get upset, take your wigs off and pop your nails off and throw your handbag and getting ready to fight. That's fine. Do you. But I'm not going to lower myself to that. I'm going to let you stay there and fight and quarrel all to yourself. And that's the way I think we all ought to be. Because I think that every time we go into something, do something, quarrel with somebody, lose energy, it's just chipping into your lifespan. I believe that if you were supposed to live 81, you've chipped into your life, or you lose 5 years. So that's how I look at it. That is how I look at life, and I think it's a formula that we all should develop. If somebody wants to get upset with you, allow them to get upset with you, but you do not have to lower your standard to somebody's level. I just believe that. If they're
That's so
negative,
important.
you do not need to be negative. Allow them to be negative because that's who they are. But you know who you are. And when you know who you are, you'd be like, okay, that's fine. I appreciate you being who you are, but that's not me. You're not going to carry me down that road because that's not me. And that's the way I think we ought to be. And a lot of people say, how comes you become so positive? I say, because I've been through life and different stages, and life have taught me, and I have decided that this is how I want my life to be. I want to be a light that shines. That's me. I believe that if you're in a dark space, and when I come into the cave of your dark space, there should be some illumination. And that's how I look at my life. And
Thank you for that.
well,
Now, this positivity that you share on the radio, do they also sort of reflect in your book? Tell me something about your book.
My book is called No Love in the Temple, and it wasn't a book that was written to uh, be negative about anybody or their organization or so forth. Because I'm church, I took it from a church perspective, and it was written with the fact that people who say that they are authentically connected to a God, and a God should be a God of love. And yet we're so mean spirited. We don't like each other. We can't get along with each other. We're not caring. And a lot of people thought I was directly talking about a church, but I'm talking about us, because I do believe that we are a temple, and within us we should love one another. And so it's called No Love in the Temple. It became a bit controversial because a lot of people thought, oh God, whose church is she talking about? But it's just a guide, just teaching us of how we should be as a people who should love one another, how a friend should treat one another. And so it just gives you little nuggets of life, of positivity. So it's a book really of motivation and aspiration, and to inspire people. So that's what my book is about. So it's called No Love in the Temple, and it's
That's
just
great.
helping us how to love.
I like the fact that you said the book sort of stir up controversy in that, okay, not controversy where people are fighting, but where people are engaging, they are talking. I think that should make you very happy because it means people are talking. I mean, you are getting people into engagement. That is very important. In
Yeah,
fact, that should bring more sales to the book
yeah.
because people want to know why what you said in comparison to what other people say and what they think. That is very good.
A lot of people bought it just because they thought I was talking about their church, or and when they got it, it was like, oh.
All right.
So
Now, tell me, how can people get the book? Tell them so that more people can get it. Where can they get the book?
the book is available on Amazon globally. So here in the UK, it's on Amazon.co.uk, and I think for the rest of the world, it's Amazon.com. It's available on Amazon for purchase worldwide.
That's lovely. So, yeah, there is a lot to learn from there. Check it out, guys. All right. Now, you're also a life coach. Do you want to tell me anything about your coaching program? What is the central message that you are passing through in your life coaching program?
I'm more surrounded around mental health, because I do know that in life, the traumas of life have traumatized a lot of people. And a lot of people are downcast, a lot of people are depressed. And it's very funny, I've found this out, that even when you look like you're not depressed, a lot of people are depressed, still looking happy. And so when I wrote the No Love in the Temple, I had to develop a business around it. So my business is called Rhapsody Lounge R&R. The R&R means rejuvenating and restoring. And so I developed a program around it where we could have these groups, where I have Q&A, where people come and talk. And it all stems from a book launch that I had in February, where they were asking questions, and I was responding to the questions that was being asked. And people came to me afterwards and said, I have many questions, more questions I wanted to ask you. And so I developed this little program where people can come and ask their questions, where I do a Q&A, and people come and ask their question. By asking the questions and getting the answer, it helps to release people. In order for you to have some questions, sometimes it's something you might be processing in your own mind. And when you speak and ask these questions and get the answer, it helps to release some people mentally. So that's what it's all about. I developed that little, and it's not beneficial in the sense of finances, but it's just something I developed to help people. Finances will come later. I'm not, too worried about, getting rich like many people often do. I believe as time goes on, because it's only new, that, that will pour in at a later
Oh, all right. That's good. That's good. Anyway, maybe offline we can talk a bit about that. Now, who are the type of people that you are serving, and what kind of problem do they complain to you about? I mean, of course, are they aware that they have and that they need your help? Let me understand that.
It could be anything from having problems within the family. Parents could have passed away, siblings are squabbling and having that kind of a quarrels to see who should get what and what. It could be somebody just feeling lonely. It could be somebody in a marriage who is not happy. The subject stems on a variation, many different things people come to me about. Struggle at work, struggle with the children, elderly people feeling alone, people who have lost their sons and daughters, tragically. So it's a wide vast of different things that people come to talk to me about, and I'm able to give them something positive, not to steer them from what had happened, but to help them to deal with it. Because a lot of times people don't deal with things. For example, death. People grieve in many different ways, but sometimes they're attached to organizations, i.e., church, and just tell you that you just need to shout it out, pray it out, and everything's gonna be all right. But it doesn't work like that. Grief is something that people need to get coached about in how to cope with that void. They've lost someone, and they need to be taught how to deal with this, not just to pray it away or preach it away. That don't work. We need to sit and have different avenues of dealing with people, talking to people of how to deal with these issues. Abuse is one of them, the other big one, and abuse in church environment. A lot of people would think, oh God, in the church. Oh yes, in the church, because it's not about just being physically abused, but mental abuse is a big one. And because of that, a lot of people wants to talk about these things that people have done, people have said to them, trying to be in an environment that should be nurturing and should be an environment of love. But yet, they don't get that, and people just manipulate and abuse people. And so people want to talk about many different things. And I speak to many people, even pastors, people who are high up in churches or in different organizations, CDOs from big companies, who wants to talk.
I'm happy that at least that part of the abuse within the African diaspora and within the church, people are talking about it, because it's something that people don't want to touch.
Yeah.
They don't even believe that it is there, because it's so subtle.
Yes.
You sometimes believe it is normal, it is natural. You just borrow your mind to somebody to use for you. I think it's the worst form of stupidity also on your part as a human being to let somebody think for you.
My God, yes. Yeah.
Anyway, that is a conversation that we can actually pick up on another day, because it is so odd, and it have a huge effect on the people, not only in the diaspora but also in Africa.
Yes.
I have seen video of people being dragged out like sheep, and they were literally told to eat grass on the ground, and they were really eating it. People have been made to drink something that looked like poison. Some of them will die. People have been made to do a lot of terrible things.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is something that we can talk about another time.
Yes.
Now, how can people get to connect with you? Use this few seconds to promote what you do. It is the right thing to do. Go ahead.
Okay, you can connect with me on social media. I'm on Facebook. Psalmist Cheetah is the name you need to search for. Psalmist, PSALMIST. Cheetahs in the cat, CHEETAH. And I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. And I have a YouTube channel where you could see some of the things that I do as well. You can reach out to me there, or you could send me an email, cheetahdouglas@yahoo.com. So that's the ways and means of reaching out to me. Just get on there and DM me, or send me an email at cheetahdouglas yahoo.com.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank
Now, what would be your final statement here, your final thought regarding what we have discussed today? Maybe something that have been boiling in your mind you wanted to say and they don't ask you, or just conclude it in your own way. Please go ahead.
I want everybody to know and leave with the impression that you are good. A lot of times people will say things to you to make you not know that you're valuable and that you are of worth. Each and every one of you are good and you are of worth. Put yourself in environments that will build you up. Remove yourself from environments that pulls you down. Stay positive, stay focused, and be willing to work hard to achieve whatever you can and will wanting to achieve. You just got to work at it. Can't be lazy. Just keep going, keep persevering, keep pushing, and you will see the results on the other side if you work hard at it.
Thank you so much, Psalmist. I like that. If you work on it, everything is on condition in life.
Yes.
We must know that if you need something, there is a corresponding price to pay for it. If you're not ready to pay the price, then forget it.
Yes. You got to work
Thank,
hard.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening and talk to you in the next episode.